Davenport! Get Mr. Griswold's car back and bring it back here!
Clark, is that the right car?
No, it isn't, honey. I changed my mind. Pardon me. I wonder if you could tell me how to get back on the expressway.
Yo, Mama.
Thank you very much.
Hey, underpants. Hey, yellow.
You're driving me to Phoenix! Oh, God. The dog went on the picnic basket.
Audrey, when they close the road, they put up big signs, like this one.
Have a license to drive an automobile. He should be behind bars.
She's fine, don't be silly.
She's not fine, Clark. She's dead.
This is no longer a vacation. It's a quest. It's a quest for fun. I'm gonna have fun, and you're gonna have fun. We're all gonna have so much fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles.
A vacation is about the journey, not the destination. It's a quote you have heard time and time again, and I want you to keep it in mind for the rest of the video. Today is the day I discuss one of my favorite films ever made, that I commonly give the title of the greatest road trip movie ever made. It's a bold claim, but if you've ever been on a Griswold family vacation like I have, then you'll understand how I feel. National Lampoon's Vacation is one of those movies that does the road trip movie formula in a way that feels memorable. The road trip movie formula is a cliched formula that usually consists of a group of people traveling long distances and stopping at set piece after set piece to experience disaster after disaster. It's been done to death, and nowadays road trip movies have lost sight of what makes a road trip movie good. Movies like these work best when the characters are written well, and National Lampoon's Vacation is no exception, because the movie works in every way, shape, and form, from every character to every set piece. It all comes together to make my favorite road trip movie, and one of my favorite comedies ever created. Clark Griswold buys a new car for an upcoming vacation to Wally World with his family, consisting of his wife Ellen and his two kids, Rusty and Audrey. Their journey begins, and their vacation is nice and fun. Just kidding. We wouldn't have a road trip movie if that was the case. The disasters start small and work their way up. It starts with Clark taking the family into a sketchy neighborhood.
Kids, you noticing all this plight? This'll just make us appreciate what we have. Roll them up.
And asking the locals for directions.
Say, excuse me, Holmes? Aha! What it is, bro?
He pays them $10 and leaves with no tire plates. This is just one problem in their tsunami of problems to come. After Clark viciously murders Ellen and dies in the Wild West, the family then travels to Ellen's cousin Catherine's place, and they are the definition of trailer park trash, but without the trailer. Catherine and her husband Eddie have many interesting kids.
Well, how old are you, little one?
She was born without a tongue, Clark.
And I French kiss.
So everybody does that.
Yeah, but Daddy says I'm the best at it.
And are struggling a little financially.
Could you maybe spare a little?
Sure, Eddie. How much you need?
About $52,000.
Their house is also the home of Aunt Edna, who has the single greatest villain entrance in cinematic history.
Aunt Edna! Helper's getting cold.
Is that your Aunt Edna?
Catherine and Edna then announce to Clark and Ellen that they have to take her back to her home in Arizona, Phoenix. But that's not all, because Edna also has a dog named Dinky, that likes to hug and lick anyone in a 5-mile radius. But since everyone in the movie hates nice dogs, Clark does what every responsible pet owner does and ties Dinky's leash to the back of the car and drags Dinky for miles along the road. And Edna then congratulates Clark for his heroism.
Dog killer!
So to celebrate, he does 50 yards off a ramp into the hot Arizona desert and totals his car. And because Clark knows what to do in any bad situation, he gives Rusty alcohol poisoning and tries to kill himself. Luckily, he wanders into a repair shop and finds his family, who is worried sick. His wife and kids are happy to see him again, along with the 2 mechanics. When Clark asks for the bill, they reveal themselves as honest sheriffs who are just trying to give back to the poor. Clark understands their efforts and gives them all of his hard-earned cash, along with a promise to take from the rich and give back to the poor by robbing a nearby bank. But the anime thickens because Aunt Edna, Lord of the Underworld, dies in the back of the car. The family then has to start another mission in the form of taking her body to Clark's cousin Normie's place. Normie isn't home, so they put the body on his patio, and Clark gives the greatest speech of all time.
Oh God, ease our suffering in this our moment of great despair.
Yea, admit this good and decent woman into thine arms and the flock in thine heavenly area up there. In Moab he laid us down behind the band of the Canaanites. And yea, though the Hindus speak of karma,
Clark.
I implore you, give her a break.
Clark.
Baruch atah.
Though Aunt Edna is dead, her evil soul still lives on because Clark gets possessed and has an insanely funny outburst.
You'll be whistling Symphony Doodah out of your I gotta be crazy. I'm on a pilgrimage to see a moose. Praise Marty Moose. Holy
Dad, you want to ask for something?
don't touch!
After Clark almost gets hypothermia in an ice-cold pool, the family makes it to Wally World. They're overjoyed and run like the wind across an empty parking lot to the door entrance.
Sorry, folks, we're closed for 2 weeks to clean and repair America's favorite family fun park. Sorry.
Now what do you think Clark does in this situation? Does he A. do something stupid? B. commit several crimes? C. put his family in danger? Or D. all of the above? If you guessed D, then congratulations. Clark goes to a sporting goods store, buys a BB gun, and holds it up to the theme park security. Among the theme park security is none other than John Candy, God rest his soul. John Candy allows the family to access the park, and they have the most fun ever. So much so, the police arrive on the premises, and the family is held at gunpoint. After theme park CEO Roy Wally gives them a pass, they then have one last freeze frame into the credits. I left out quite a bit of elements, but you get the idea. It's an insane road trip movie where a typical white American family meets the rest of America with amazing writing and set pieces that make it stand out among other road trip movies.
This is 1,000 monkeys working at 1,000 typewriters. Soon, they'll have written the greatest novel known to man. Let's see. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. You stupid monkey!
1, 2, 3, 4.
The writing in this movie is about as perfect as you can get from a road trip movie. You got a colorful cast of characters that all go through their own issues and deal with large problems in their own ways, but not to the point where it distracts you from the main comedy the movie dishes out. You got Clark, who is afraid that his kids will grow up too fast, so he commits several crimes to try and achieve a perfect vacation for them, some by accident. Then Ellen, who is the voice of reason in the family, and has to deal with Clark's insanity. Then Rusty and Audrey, who try to discover their identities because they're regular teens. And Eddie's family, who try to keep a smile on their face as their lives are slowly falling apart due to money troubles. The characters can feel very genuine at times, which makes them feel like real people and not just characters. There are going to be many teens and adults who watch this movie and find themselves relating to at least one conflict in the movie, whether it be money troubles, fear that the future is closing in too fast, or just a disaster in the movie. I mean, everyone kills their dogs at some point by dragging them for 50 miles across the road. The movie isn't a drama, but there are quite a few dramatic elements you could find under the surface. The surface, however, is what makes the movie comedy gold. The movie mostly has a light and dark sense of irony for its humor, and it's what makes the movie work as well as it does. For example, at the beginning of the movie, Clark mentions that he is not your
ordinary, everyday fool, okay?
Before getting scammed by a car salesman into buying a car he didn't want. He gets scammed multiple times in the movie, which makes the line on a second viewing funnier than it was on the first viewing. You also have jokes like Cousin Normie's whereabouts, where a note on his front door says he's out in Flagstaff, Arizona, the place the family was just a few hours ago. But these are more lighthearted, as darker jokes include the following. Aunt Edna needs to get back to Phoenix. She makes it, but isn't alive long enough to see it. Then there's a dark joke about Clark killing Dinky, which uses animal cruelty to complete the joke. The dog liked biting people, so it bit the dust on the road. Hell, even Ella makes a short quip about the irony of the incident.
Don't you trust me?
As long as you don't tie me to the rear bumper.
However, you can have amazing writing, but if the pacing is too fast or slow, it can take away from the experience. Luckily, National Lampoon's Vacation hits a sweet spot with its pacing. The pacing feels right out of a Looney Tunes cartoon. The sound effects and actions at moments can feel very cartoonish too.
Why don't you just ask him for the money, Eddie? You sure as hell can't take a hint.
The performances the actors put on in the movie also elevate the memorability of the movie. The actors all feel just right for their roles, and I could not think of a better role for Clark Griswold than Chevy Chase. Beverly D'Angelo fits her role as Ellen. John Nicolecki and Dana Barron play great teens in the movie, and Randy Quaid fits his role as a trailer park trash dad. John Candy has a short but memorable performance as the goofy security guard. Other honorable mentions include Imogen Coca as Aunt Edna, and Catherine, played by Miriam Flynn. All the writing and acting in the movie help fuel the spirit of the movie, which makes it more unique. Now, I can't talk about National Lampoon's Vacation without talking about the spirit of the movie. The movie's tourist attractions keep the movie settings fresh. The constantly changing setting really makes you feel like you're on a journey across America. You have the suburbs of Illinois, the downtown neighborhoods of Missouri, the empty fields and farmlands of Kansas, the Rockies and forests of Colorado, the deserts of Arizona, and many more. The characters also follow American stereotypes, such as the typical white American family, the trashy family of the Midwest, and many more. The soundtrack also gets you in the mood for the journey ahead. Holiday Road and Dance Across the USA, performed by Lindsey Buckingham, are perfect tunes for a vacation.
It's a long way down Holiday Road. Holiday Road. Holiday Road. We went dancing across the USA on that crazy King's Highway.
Holiday Road marks the beginning, while Dance Across the USA marks the end of a journey. The quote that it's about the journey and not the destination is constantly mocked in this movie, with disaster after disaster. If the philosophy was followed, Clark wouldn't punch Marty Moose and hold theme park security at gunpoint. He would take his family to other places such as beaches and water parks in California as substitutes. The movie is about mocking the common journey philosophy and changing it to what Clark would later say over 30 years later.
The journey sucks. That's what makes you appreciate the destination. You had a dream to take your family to Wally World. Never let that go. I know I didn't.
That's what I think the movie is truly about. You go into the movie and come out with a different mindset on vacations. No amount of driving and tourist attractions can compete with the joy of the destination. It's a light at the end of the tunnel, the rays of sunshine in a lightning storm, and the lighthouse beyond the crashing waves. Think about vacations you have been on, and think of what you remember about them. Chances are that you remember the joy of the destination, not the boredom of driving and flying. The movie leaves a mark like no other road trip movie, which keeps me coming back with a smile on my face every time I revisit it.
We went dancing across the USA.
In the end, this movie will always live on in my head until the day I die. It's like the one scene in the movie where Clark shares a beer with Rusty. My dad showed me this movie, and when I have kids, I will show them this movie, and hopefully they do the same for their kids. Many like to believe that the Griswold family vacation ended shortly after the freeze frame at the end, but I like to believe that the Griswolds are still having the time of their lives in Wally World to this very day.
So they say some will go, others just stay and stay.